My name is Doris Kapner, and I am a figurative artist here at the McColl Center, and this is my studio. I primarily consider myself a sculptor. I work in ceramics. All my ceramics work is based on textiles, so items like dresses, jackets, soft toys. I use those instead of actually using a subject so that it's more universal. I often use actual sewing patterns for my work, so using a real vintage McColl pattern to cut out a dress, and then perhaps adding real ribbon or crocheted edging or embroidery to the pieces to kind of blur that line between an actual garment and my ceramic sculpture. So recently I've started to take the ceramic patterns that are familiar and that are kind of culturally significant and bringing those into paintings. So I'm kind of creating this memory scape using those patterns. So patterns you would find in your home that maybe it was on the cereal bowl you had or the fancy china set that your mother brought out on special occasions. And then juxtaposing those with images from my past of me, my family, my children, to kind of tell a little story about that. Because these patterns and textiles and garments, they're very emotional to us. So having those pieces, like you might find a toy that you had when you were small or a baby bowl, and then it kind of washed over with all kinds of emotions from that piece. So those domestic objects are really important to our lives and tell our story. So for instance, I have a series of domestic objects that are undergarments, and I use that undergarment, the underwear, the bra, to represent a woman, and then I'm juxtaposing a very familiar pattern on them, like perhaps a dinnerware pattern or a Lenox pattern, to kind of make this commentary on women's place in the home. So these items that we're kind of appeased with, that are familiar, that maybe show status, or that we feel kind of tied to our self-esteem or self-worth, are turned into these undergarments to represent a woman. And rather than it being a portrait of a woman, it can kind of be more universal because it's just the item. So using these objects to kind of symbolize the objectification of women.